Hello guys, I'm just doing some rehab in the gym, resting for the World Championships. And while I do it, I guess I could talk about something interesting. And one of the more interesting things to me, at least, is the choice of techniques and the techniques that you spend time on and the techniques that you want to work on. How should you decide what is the best for you? I guess this is just simply my theory. It doesn't necessarily have to be true, but these are some of my thoughts. Maybe this information could help you to decide for yourself. So I guess I will just do some biceps like this. Very small way, just to relax and get some blood into the muscle. Okay, so where do we start? I would identify three main techniques. I think the rest of them are just some kind of variations. But the main three of them would be top roll, hook, and press. Maybe let's call it flop wrist press. I think that is a more effective, more natural way to use your triceps. So, me personally, I remember at the beginning I chose top roll because I felt like it's less dangerous. I can avoid some injuries. If I lose, I open up in a better way. Which maybe, I'm not sure if I still believe in that theory, because I remember in the first couple of years I still got injured while top rolling someone, and then maybe my hand was a little bit too over rotated. Someone was really pressing into it, and then I still had some problems with my ligaments and tendons here. Some of them seem to be partially torn after some fights. So yeah, top roll, hook, press. My theory is that sometimes these three techniques, they counter each other. Top roll is created to defeat the hook by opening your opponent's wrist. The top roll is then defeated quite easily by just flop wrist pressing and ignoring the whole strength of the top roll, right? The top roll tries to take your hand and you just give it away. You don't care about it, and you train to be comfortable in this flop wrist position, and then you're pretty good. Meanwhile, hook seems to be dealing quite well with the press. I guess it's because the hook puller has that initial sideways strength, which allows him to push the presser out of his shoulder and then just defeat him in a hook. So, but I still believe that for this triangle to work, the level of the athletes has to be similar, right? So, for example, if my top roll, let's assign some number to it. Let's say my top roll is at 100. Someone who has a press of let's say 80, maybe since stylistically press is so superior to top roll, maybe 80. Maybe the press of 80 is strong enough to beat a top roll of 100. And then, but let's say the press of 60 is not enough anymore. Like, let's say any lower than 80 is not enough. So top roll could still win. And then it's the same in our cases. Let's say the top roll of 80 is good enough to beat a hook of 100, but then if it's only 70, then the hook is still gonna get you in no matter what you do, right? But the interesting thing is that it seems like someone with a smart choice of technique, let's say I know that my opponent is always hooking, and then if I decide to choose a top roll to use against him, then I don't even have to be at his level really. Like it's enough for me to be at let's say, yeah, it's a stupid unit, but 80, and I can beat a much stronger hook puller, which I think is interesting because you know, there could be a strategy where maybe let me start with one other thing. It is sometimes more difficult to reach, let's say you are training, you want to reach a strong hook, but it seems to maybe the time you need to put into it is somehow exponential. So maybe you are able to reach let's say you chose top roll of 80, you are able to reach in 3-4 years, let's say 4 years. Meanwhile, if you want to improve your top roll like even more, let's say top roll 100, then you would have to work another 6 years, let's say, so 10 years in total. So the time required to add those extra 10, 20 power units, whatever, becomes exponentially larger. So I'm trying to say that someone who is maybe working on a couple of different techniques, let's say I have all three of them, top roll of an 80, hook 80, press 80, so let's say someone is very balanced, that guy, if he would be making smart choices and he would see that, okay, I'm fighting a top roller, let me use a press. So that guy could be pretty good because he would be able to choose the correct technique and he could beat someone who is a bit stronger in some specific movement, right? But let's say if I make a mistake and then I choose to use my top roll against another top roll who is better, then of course it's not gonna go well. So back to the first point. What should you choose? Like, how should you? Because I guess, you know, whenever you train, you don't just train random things. It's better to have a plan. So maybe it's a good idea for someone to only focus on a top roll or only focus on a hook and nothing else. Or maybe for some other people, it could be good to focus on all three different things or two of them to be more balanced. So my theory is that it maybe depends a little bit on your build, on your genetics. I feel like if your build is somehow extreme, for example, if you are tall like Laletin or Georgi, no, I don't remember. Tortilla, yeah. So some of these guys who are very tall and lean, then maybe it's better for them to just focus on the top roll mainly, because they can abuse that technique to a much higher extent. Where if someone is very short and stocky, maybe that guy should focus on the hook, or maybe hook and press instead of doing a top roll. And then maybe someone in the middle, no extreme build, you know, just some average guy. Maybe that guy should focus on all three of them. So that's basically my theory. I feel like it depends on your build. Which technique should you focus on? And I believe that, you know, if you make a a good choice in this case. I think you can be quite successful. And then if you make a bad one, let's say I'm a long guy, for example, like a Tom Holland type of guy. Yes, it's great to hook, and you might get pretty good at it, but maybe it's actually better to just top roll instead of hook, you know. So yeah, just a couple of thoughts like this. Maybe it will help you to decide which way do you want to go. And have fun, guys. Meanwhile, I'll just keep resting for Worlds, and hopefully I do well.